All right, so are you ready to dive in with me today? We're going to be taking a look at the world of crypto.
Sounds good to me.
Specifically XRP. You've been sending me some really interesting articles from KryptoKraken about it.
Yeah, it's a fascinating one, for sure. Lots to unpack there.
Yeah, especially this idea that it might even, I don't know, outshine Bitcoin someday. Is that realistic?
Right. Is this just hype, or is this really the future of finance?
Exactly. And I definitely want to get your take on all this, because you can spot the difference between, a bubble and a real breakthrough.
Well, I could try.
Haha. All right, so let's jump right in. Is XRP really gunning for Bitcoin's top spot, or is it playing a totally different game here?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Totally. And you've been digging into Dennis Frank's work too, right?
I have.
And it seems like XRP isn't about, burning the whole system down, but more I don't know, giving it a serious upgrade, especially when we're talking about, sending money internationally.
Yeah, it's more of a focus on improving the existing framework.
Okay, yeah. Now, this article from KryptoKraken, Why XRP Could Surpass Bitcoin, this one really caught my eye. It kind of frames Bitcoin as this, digital gold standard, right?
Yeah.
All about holding value.
Right.
But XRP seems more about, I don't know, greasing the wheels of finance, you know what I mean? Making things faster, smoother, especially for those big institutions.
And that's a really important distinction, because what's interesting here is that XRP is kind of recognizing the reality of the financial world, right? I mean, these systems are massive. They're deeply rooted. And instead of trying to tear them down, XRP is saying, okay, how can we work within this existing framework and optimize it?
So it's more about, working smarter, not harder.
Exactly. And I think the analogy of sending money overseas is a really good one. Think about that process, how slow it is, the fees involved, the headaches, right?
Oh, tell me about it.
XRP wants to make sending money across borders as easy and as seamless as, say, sending a text message.
Okay, I can get behind that for sure. But so it's about improving what's already there, but this article also dives into the tech behind it. And this is where things get kind of, I don't know, geeky for me.
Right.
Because it talks about how Bitcoin uses that energy-heavy mining process.
Yeah.
But XRP has this consensus protocol, and they use validators. What's the difference, and why should I even care?
Well, you should care because it affects everything, right?
Ah.
But the key difference here is speed and scale. You see, Bitcoin's mining process, while it is very secure, it takes time.
Okay.
And it can be very energy intensive. XRP's consensus protocol, on the other hand, uses a pre-selected network of these validators to confirm transactions.
Okay.
And that allows for much faster processing and, crucially, the potential to handle way, way more transactions.
So instead of waiting for computers to, crack some code to verify everything, like with Bitcoin,
Right.
XRP has this pre-approved network that can just, zoom things through.
Yeah, exactly. It's much more efficient.
That sounds way more efficient. And the article mentioned XRP can handle 1,500 transactions every second?
It's impressive, yeah.
That's insane compared to how slow Bitcoin can be.
It's a night and day difference, and it matters. Put that into perspective. Imagine a business waiting for a cross-border payment. With traditional systems, that could take days.
Oh, yeah.
With XRP, we're talking seconds. And that kind of speed can completely revolutionize how global commerce happens.
Yeah, it's are we even playing the same game anymore?
A whole different ballgame.
So we've got speed, efficiency, this idea of working with the system, not against it. It's feeling like XRP and Bitcoin are in totally different lanes here, even if they're both, on that crypto highway. But there's this other player, right? Ripple Labs. This article dug into how they're the driving force behind XRP, the developers, the promoters. They're even working directly with regulators, which feels so different from the image of crypto operating in the shadows,
Absolutely, and that's a really, really important point. Many cryptocurrencies, they struggle with regulatory uncertainty, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Ripple's out there. They're actively engaging with governments, with institutions. They're seeking clarity. They're working towards compliance.
Interesting.
And that could be huge. I mean, if they can position XRP as this trusted and regulated solution, it could be a game changer for mainstream adoption.
So it's almost like they're playing the long game here.
Yeah, right.
Building that trust, working with the system instead of just trying to completely disrupt it. But that doesn't mean it's all smooth sailing, right?
Yeah.
The article does mention some risks, some challenges.
Yeah, for sure.
There are those regulatory hurdles we talked about, and the whole crypto landscape is constantly changing.
Yeah, it's like the Wild West out there.
Right. So it's not like XRP's future is 100% guaranteed.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, you always have to remember that in the world of finance, there are no guarantees, right?
Sure.
Especially with something as, I don't know, as disruptive as cryptocurrency can be, and, Ripple's strategy there of working within the system.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword, right? I mean, it might give them an advantage in some ways, but it also makes them more vulnerable to things like regulation, bureaucracy, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. So can they really keep up,
Yeah.
Because the tech world moves so fast, and the financial world too.
Yeah, exactly. That's the big question, isn't it? Can they adhere to all these regulations and still be innovative and fast-moving enough to compete in these spaces?
It's like that old saying, move fast and break things. But in this case, it's more like move strategically and build trust.
And try not to break too much in the process.
Exactly. Which kind of brings us back to that big question we started with today, right? Does XRP have a real shot at toppling Bitcoin? Or knowing what we know now, is that even the right question?
Right. What does surpassing even mean in this context? If XRP becomes the backbone of how we do global payments, if it's facilitating trillions of dollars in transactions every single day, does market cap even really matter as much?
So maybe it's not about being the most valuable cryptocurrency in the traditional sense, but about achieving something way bigger, way more transformative.
Exactly, yeah. Like reshaping the entire infrastructure of global finance.
Whoa. Okay, now we're talking.
Yeah, and this is where that other source you shared, that Ripple's XRP and the BRICS coalition, that one becomes really interesting.
Oh, right. We haven't even touched on that one yet.
We haven't, but this ties into everything we're talking about.
Okay.
Because remember how we were discussing, Ripple working with institutions?
I do.
Well, this source, it takes it a step further. It explores this idea of XRP being adopted, not just by individual banks, but by entire nations.
Whoa.
Particularly those who are maybe looking for alternatives to the, let's say, the current Western-dominated financial system.
So instead of just making things faster within the system as it is now, XRP could be the foundation for a whole new system.
That's the
one that's more inclusive and maybe even challenges the current balance of power when it comes to global finance.
It's a very real possibility, and it goes way beyond just the technology itself, right?
Yeah.
This is about geopolitics, global power dynamics, the future of the world economy, really. It's fascinating stuff.
Wow, we really went from 0 to 60 with this one, huh?
You did.
Started off talking about XRP maybe giving Bitcoin a run for its money, and now we're talking about the future of the entire global financial system.
Well, that's the thing about technology, right? It never exists in a vacuum.
Sure.
Something like XRP, it might have all this technical potential, but at the end of the day, its success really depends on how it's received,
Yeah.
by institutions, by governments, even just by regular people using it every day.
Right, are people actually going to use this thing?
Exactly.
And that Dennis Frank article, the Explore More one?
Yeah.
He touches on that, right? About the things that could either help or hinder XRP becoming a mainstream thing.
He does. And, one of Frank's big arguments is that for XRP to really succeed, it can't just be about being technically better, you know?
Yeah.
It has to actually solve real world problems.
Okay, so it's not enough to be faster or more efficient. It has to actually make a difference in people's lives.
Exactly. It has to offer tangible benefits. And those benefits have to be clear, not just for giant corporations, but for everyday people, for governments, for everyone.
Can you give me an example? What kind of problems are we talking about here?
We'll take remittances, for example, right?
Okay.
Sending money across borders. It's a huge market, billions and billions of dollars every year.
Yeah, a lot of people rely on that.
They do. And often the fees are just outrageous, right?
No, yeah, it's terrible.
So if XRP can come in and offer a solution that's dramatically cheaper and faster, then its value proposition becomes much clearer, right?
Right. It's suddenly it's not just about the tech anymore. It's about actually helping people in a very real way.
Exactly. And that's what's so exciting about this space. It's not just about numbers going up on a screen.
It's way bigger than that.
It's about real world impact.
Man, we've covered so much ground today. It's a lot to process.
It is. We've gone from comparing transaction speeds to reshaping the entire global financial system. It's a lot.
It really is. So where does this leave us? Should we be checking the price of XRP every day, or should we be, keeping an eye on which countries are actually adopting it? What's the move here?
I think that's the question you have to keep asking yourself as you learn more about this, right? If XRP really does become this, this backbone of a new financial system, its impact is going to be felt way beyond just what its price is doing on any given day.
So maybe the real question isn't, will XRP surpass Bitcoin? But how will XRP and technologies like it, really change the world as we know it?
Now you're asking the right questions.
Yeah.
And that's what we want this deep dive to be, right? It's about giving you the knowledge, the context, the tools you need to form your own conclusions. So keep asking those questions. Keep digging into those sources. You clearly have a knack for this. You'll be navigating this crazy world of finance and tech like a pro in no time.
I appreciate that. Well, I have a feeling we'll be revisiting this whole XRP thing again very soon.
I'm sure we will.
But until then, thanks for diving deep with us.